everyone, welcome to my channel. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell and always remember to protect your energy. We're living life. This is Goddess of Color.
Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. If this is your very first time visiting with me, welcome. If you are a return visitor, welcome back as well. I'm so happy to have you a part of this growing community and tribe. So guys, in my last video, I talked about how excited I was to begin this series dealing with sexual abuse as well as childhood trauma. So if you haven't had the opportunity to look at that last video, I would just encourage you to go back and watch it just so that you would be abreast of what's going on with this series, you know, how it all got started. I really lay a foundation of what this series is really going to be about. So this is going to be of the series. So over 15 years ago, so let me just give you a brief synopsis, okay? Over 15 years ago, I wrote a self-biography book about my life and my experience being a victim or child victim of sexual abuse and all the issues and experience and trauma that comes from that type of abuse or experience. When the Most High, God gave me the unction to write the book, it took me about a year and a half to really just get focused to write the book because I didn't want to, even though I had began my healing journey and I had been on that journey at that particular time, probably about 2 years into my healing journey, I still wasn't ready to share that part of my life with the world. I wasn't ready to be vulnerable. I wasn't ready to be scrutinized or judged, or not even to be believed of the experience that I had endured as a child. Because one, at this time when I wrote the book, I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I was in my late 20s, very late 20s, early 30s, or mid 30s. And so I still wasn't in a place where I was ready to just be vulnerable like that, to just I was going through my healing journey, and I was in church. I was happy. I wasn't depressed anymore. I didn't have all of that stuff going on. My life was at a place where I felt happy. I was gaining control of who I was as a person, as a woman, as a young woman. And I was married at that time. So I really just like, that's the past. I've healed. I've moved on. Why go back and, relive that just so someone else can have the, not have the, or look into my life situation. But like I said, 2 years in, it took me 2 years to really just say, okay, because I couldn't. When the Most High gave me the inclination to write the book, I contemplated, I did all this stuff, but it just wouldn't let me go. I was just restless. So when I finally made up my mind that I was going to be obedient and go ahead and write the book, I didn't know why the Most High wanted me to write a book. I know to encourage others, but I still just didn't have the depth or why this was so important for me to write this book, and who was going to read it. All of these things that, came into my mind. Why I'm writing this book? Who's going to benefit from it? how I'm going to, sell it, all of this kind of stuff. I was just like, what is the purpose? So I didn't know if the Most High was leading me to write this book to just to close that chapter in my life, or if it was a part of my healing journey that I would one day go back and reference, that I would have an account of what happened. For whatever reason, I can't explain it to you, but these are the thoughts what's going on in my mind. Why? Even though I had those why thoughts, I knew that I was going to be obedient. And once I started writing the book, at that time, I think I was writing the book. It didn't take me, oh God, I don't even think it took me, I don't even think it took me 90 days, 3 months to complete the book. The stuff that was, when I started to write, it was just like coming out of me. It was just like, I was in a flow. I was typing the words and everything on my computer, and it's almost like I didn't even have to think how I wanted to structure this book. It was just flowing so naturally. And I'm not an author. I have never ever written a book before. I didn't know how to write a book, and I just didn't. I was just going with what my feeling and my gut was leading me to do. Even with the chapters, naming the chapters, they just came to me inspirationally. It's nothing that I sat and contemplated. This is how I'm going to outline. This is how I'm going to do it. It was just flowing. It just came to me. And when I began to write on the computer type. I mean, it was just flowing. And as I began that process, I didn't, to be very honest and transparent, I tried to leave out as I was writing. I was really trying to leave out a lot of hurtful, grungy stuff that's just like, now I can't say that this happened, but I dare not say this. So I was trying to leave out a whole lot of details, a whole lot of just making it very basic, but I couldn't. I was being prompted to be very honest, to be very transparent, because that's the only way, that was going to be the only way that I was going to be able to really, and I didn't know these words back then resonate, that it was going to help someone, that it was going to be relatable to someone in the near future. So I couldn't just leave out some of the most important details, regardless of how small or minute that was. I knew that I had to be very transparent, be very honest, be very real, be very vulnerable in telling this story of a young girl that had endured such a horrific experience, starting at the age of 8. And just all the mental, emotional, psychological things that you go through at that age and dealing with something like this that happens. It's like, wow, it's just very, it's very hard. I can say that. But now, at the age that I'm at now, in hindsight, I know now, what I didn't know then that I know now. Because I've met so many people on this journey. I have had the opportunity to meet and speak and work with so many young girls that have been affected by this same topic, whether it was in a women prison or I was speaking, or at a church event that I spoke at, or just doing my own workshop or talking to people in general. You would be surprised at how many people that you would meet that have experienced this same type of trauma. It is countless women that I've met over the years that have experienced this type of abuse. And growing up, I didn't know that other people had experienced this because I didn't know anyone. No one ever spoke of it in my home or community or in my surroundings. So I didn't know that other people, other girls, had ever experienced this type of trauma until I got older and started talking about it. And then to also, once I started talking about it after, I began my healing journey, to come and find out that there were other, I'm not going to disclose their names, other people in my close surroundings that have also been victimized by this same trauma in my immediate family that I had no idea until we got to be women and started to talk about it. And wow, that in itself was very hard to know and to come to terms with, because it wasn't ever discussed in my home. It was never discussed amongst us as a family or as a community or just in the household itself. It was never discussed. And had it been, from my experience, had it been discussed or had the adults made it a matter of fact or had even trained us to tell if something was like this was happening, to, if they had made it a safe haven or environment to us growing up, that if anything like this was happening, we're your first place of resource, we're your first place of communication to come and tell this is happening. So because it was never expressed in my experience in my home, we just were silent. We just had those experiences to ourselves, and it just lay dormant. Even though in my experience, there were so many red flags and signs that I have no clue to how the adults then could have missed all the warning signs. But I get into that later down in the series. But that I wanted to just share with you all, just laying a foundation as we get into the series and we begin to peel back the layers so that you can see the effects of being a victim of sexual abuse, exactly how this type of trauma, how it just really just tears your life apart. It alters everything that you thought was real. It alters who you are as a person, your beliefs, everything that you thought was good and wholesome and innocent and safe is totally demolished when you experience this type of trauma. So as we get into the series, guys, we're going to begin from the beginning. So in the next, I'm going to end right here because I do want to pull some excerpts from the other from my book, and then just expound on it as I read from each chapter. The book is not very long. It's only 6 chapters, less than 100 pages. So each chapter is not very long, but I think it's very impactful. I think it's very helpful. Now, reading back over it in my adult life, and in the times that we're living in now, I understand now why the Most High had me to write that book. I understand now as an adult woman. I say it like this. I would never ever want anyone to experience this type of trauma if you haven't ever experienced. But me looking at it on a different level as as an adult woman, no, I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but that experience molded me, it shaped me into the woman that I am today. I learned a lot about life, about people, about myself, about destiny, about purpose, about so much that this very hurtful, traumatic, ugly, demonic thing that happened, how some good could come out of it and how good did indeed come out of such a very traumatic experience. So, yeah, guys, with that being said, I hope something that I said or that I do resonate with you. If you have never experienced this type of trauma, I get it. Maybe you can share with someone that has, or you just want to, just to listen and to learn and just look inside of what this type of trauma, how it really affects the person that's being victimized in this sort of way, and all the emotional things that happens, all the just everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, guys, we're going to get into it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them, in the description below. I would love to connect with anyone that is needing support, needing a listening ear, for someone to just say, I hear you, I validate you, I believe you. I think it's comforting to those that has, because so many people that have experienced this type of life, so many people don't believe them, and so many people can be so ugly and vile and hurtful with their words and comment. And I can understand now as an adult why a lot of victims don't come forward, why they don't share their stories, why they're silenced, and they grow up and have not healed from that type of trauma because of the scrutiny or the non-belief of others that will, say and do certain things when they speak their truth about their experience. So guys, I'm going to end it right here. Stay tuned for the next video as we dive into this series of healing from childhood trauma dealing with sexual abuse. So guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. And to remember that you are not alone, that you are someone. To always protect your energy. Until next time, this is Goddess of Color with Love and Light. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love, everybody. Mwah. I love you.